Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Yes. A very good evening to all the participants, the senior faculty members of the university, my dear colleagues, research scholars and learners present in today's webinar. On behalf of KK Hendricks Open University, I welcome you all to this webinar on skill, entrepreneurship development and employability, challenges and opportunities. Basically we three, Dr. Govinda Daka sir, Dr. Sanika Sanapati, and myself, we three will be throwing some lights on the topic, and we'll be going in this way. I'll be speaking on skill and employability. Dr. Sanika Sanapati will be speaking on entrepreneurship and employability. And finally, Dr. Govinda Daka will be speaking on challenges and opportunities of skill and entrepreneurship. Can I share my screen?
Yes, go ahead. You can share now.
Okay, just a minute. Is it visible?
Yes.
Yeah. So let us come to the topic of today's webinar. So skill and entrepreneurship. These two factors or this two area is going to play a very crucial role in the development process of low-income countries or the developing countries. As because the manufacturing and service industry is going to lead the lead those economy. If you look at the structure or the participation of workforce in the different sectors of the economy, we'll observe that slowly the pattern is changing. Earlier, more workforce were engaged in agriculture sector. Now from 2009 to 2019, within this span of 10 years, the participant of workers in the agriculture sector has dropped from 52.5% to 42.6%. On the other side, if you look at the participation in industry and service sector, in these two areas, the participation of workforce is increasing. So in this situation, we must be ready with the necessary skilled workforce to meet the changing demand and to supply adequate amount of skilled manpower. So there are two critical elements that could potentially threaten the economic growth for manufacturers in the coming years. These two factors are lack of skilled manufacturers and the rising pressure of manufacturers to be innovative. So our discussion is related with the first one. We're not going to discuss the problem faced by manufacturers while they need to be innovative. If India needs to grow, or if we want to make improvement in our economic indicators like employment or GDP or per capita income, then we must go for rapid capacity increase in the manufacturing and service sector. And when we'll be going for increasing capacity of this sector, we have to encourage, or we have to welcome the industries, both whether it is domestic industry or the international corporations, that MNCs. So before investing, these companies are always look for certain conditions, or they will invest their money, or they will start their operations only in those countries where the condition is conducive for them. And there are certain preconditions for that, like availability of infrastructure. Then the next is availability of skilled manpower. So these are preconditions. So they will invest their money, or the corporate houses will start operation in a country where they will find all their prerequisites. But when you talk about India, if you talk about, this is the scenario of India that I am sharing. If you look at the skilled scenario of skilled manpower, availability of skilled manpower in India, the scenario is this. So according to HDR 2020, barely 1 in 5 Indians in the labor force is skilled in India. And we rank 129 among 162 countries, which is poor. Again, if we talk about the employability of the youth in India, so it stood at 45.9%. So only 45.9% of the total youth are employable. And it is decreasing. It has decreased from 46.2% in 1990 to 45.9% in 2020, according to India Skill Report. So this indicates a skill gap in Indian education system. If we talk about other countries like Japan, so Japan has they have skilled, their 99.9% workforce, skilled. And Japan is at the top in the list. Like Belarus, US, Russia, all these countries have over 96% of their labor force classified as skilled. And if we talk about our neighboring country like Nepal, Sri Lanka, or Myanmar, Bangladesh. So Nepal and Sri Lanka has nearly 40% of their labor force is skilled, while in Myanmar it is 28.1%, and in Bangladesh it is 25.8%. So if we analyze, or if we just look, then we'll observe that there is a direct relationship between economic development and availability of skilled human resources. So the countries where human resources are skilled, they tends to be developed, and the economy where skilled human resource is not available, there tend to be less developed. So this is just two quotations. So what India should do? So one need to create a mindset for vocational training in India, and education degrees still preferred to vocational training. We have to give more incentive to tilt the balance in favor of vocational courses, according to Gayatri Vasudevan. Again, in our context, skilling is perceived as the last resort, mean for those who have not been able to progress in the formal academic system. This mental block has only increased the gap between what the industry requires and what is currently available. So the government of India has initiated many programs for improving skills in Indian youth, but the scale of what need to be achieved is truly staggering. The National Education Policy 2020 also talked about imparting skill. UGC has also initiated some measures to include skill component in the curriculum. Government of India launched National Vocational Education Qualification Framework, that is NVEQF, which is assimilated later on in the NSQF, that is National Skill Qualifications Framework. And UGC implemented the scheme of community college for imparting skill among the Indian youth. But the measures taken for skilling India seems to be insufficient. And we can learn some lessons from our neighbor, that is China. So how China is supplying, if not adequate, but to a great extent sufficient number of skilled manpower to their industries. So how do they do it? So what China did, China has created a system called Vocational Education and Training System, called TVET, which helped China to successfully transform into world manufacturing hub. After it produced millions of skilled workers. So how this TVET works? So this TVET ensures vocational training at secondary level. That is, in China, it's from class 7 to class 9. Then in higher educational institution, adult training and retraining, training of vocational trainers, financing and active participation of the local industries. So they encourage all these under TVET system. The curriculum is designed keeping in mind the needs of the local industries. So they frame the curriculum in such a way so that the product can be absorbed by the local industries, and local industries give input to the vocational training institute how they will frame their curriculum. And government bears more than 70% cost of that vocational education. And also they give incentives to the students coming from rural areas for pursuing those vocational training. So if we talk in the context of India or in the context of Assam, we can see that we are also providing scholarship or assistance to the students, but with no directions. We are giving it in a wholesale manner. So while doing so, the society at large is not getting the proper direction. I mean to say, when subsidies available in all the sectors, so people are choosing any one or the easy one or whatever comes in front of them. But when we provide subsidy particular to one sector to encourage that particular sector, for example, if we subsidize the vocational education or engineering education or computer education, instead of subsidizing the general education, what will happen? The economically disadvantageous students will go for those courses which will be subsidized or which are subsidized, again, which will guarantee or ensure a job to them. So we also have a system in place, and government is initiating many programs for skilling India. But even then, somewhere there is a gap. So in order to reduce that gap between demand and supply of skilled laborer, we have to again see that what lacks is there in our policies. Otherwise, things are in place. So if we look at future in the next few decades, which will dominate? So it is, we all know, technology. And the smart economy, the smart country, they are already prepared themselves. They have geared themselves. And they will grab the opportunity. And as there will be huge demand for technocrats. So if we talk about any industry nowadays, any industry, you talk about travel, you talk about manufacturing, you talk about production units, you talk about hospital management, every company, you talk about retail trade, every company is using technology extensively. And this pandemic has given another boost to the use of technology. So this is going to be, or there is going to be huge demand for technocrats in the future, in the near future. So we must be ready for that. We must make ready more and more people who are able to handle technologies. So beside that, there are certain common criteria which the skilled worker need to be fulfilled, or the corporate houses, they want their workers, they want their employees to have some qualities like problem solving ability, good communication skill, active learning, resilience and flexibility, then digital literacy, then analytical and critical thinking. So these are common. This should be present in all the among all the workers and employees, beside having their domain knowledge. So in the recent time, these are the some area which are in high demand. That is Python programming, neural networks, cloud computing, blockchain, general statistics, and data analytics. So these are the area where there is a huge demand. There will be huge demand of manpower. Data analytics is a extensively used thing nowadays. Every company, they use data analytics to forecast their, or to analyze their performance, to forecast their activities, and to take various decisions. So all companies, all big companies, they're having this data analysis team, data analytics team. It's not like that we, the researchers or the academicians, are using data analysis tools. So they are using much more than we are using. So there is a huge demand, and at a very higher level they are using. Then there is another area which is in giving employment, that is the freelancing or the gig area. So about 20 million people in India are engaged in freelancing activities. And for freelancing also, the person needs some skills. So it has become very important, or very necessary to impart technological skills among the youth of India. Only then we can dominate the market. So this is from my side. Thank you. If anybody has any query, then it can be posted in the chat box. We'll try to answer it. So the next session will be delivered by Dr. Sanika Sanapati. I request Dr. Sanika Sanapati to take over the session.
Thank you, Dipankar. And a very good evening to all my colleagues, senior faculties, and the learners, and also the research scholars who are present here. So I'll be actually delivering on entrepreneurship development, its opportunities, and the opportunities that are available, and also the schemes that government has come up with. So I'll be sharing my screen. Okay, so the economic development of a nation am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. So the economic development of a nation actually depends on its industrial development, as Dipankar has already pointed out. And the industrial development is actually based on the entrepreneurial competencies of the people also. And this concept of building entrepreneurship among the people and among the youth is the need of the hour. And entrepreneurship, when you talk about entrepreneurship, it begins with the action and the creation of new organization. So this organization may or may not, become self-sustaining, and in fact may never, earn significant revenues. But when an individual create a new organization, they have entered into this entrepreneurship paradigm. So for this, the risk-taking ability, then self-confidence, then decision-making ability, the knowledge of growing to harvesting, then economic motivation, market orientation. So these are some of the indicators that are the behaviors of an entrepreneur. So entrepreneurship in India is quite challenging. That it was quite challenging in past few years, but now there has been tremendous opportunities for the entrepreneurs, and many people, many youth have come out with they are being now entrepreneurs. So economic growth, as I have said, is important for a country, and a successful entrepreneur can increase the pace of the economic growth of the country. So in India, to motivate the entrepreneurs, the Indian government has been continuously working in this direction through several agencies like Directorate General of Training, then National Skill Development Agency, and National Skill Development Corporations. And also Indian government has taken initiatives like Startup India and Make in India to foster the entrepreneurship development among the youths. So it is very important that an entrepreneur possesses certain, basic business skills and entrepreneurship skills. So without, properly established business skills, or starting a business is very difficult. So a successful entrepreneur holds both the right characteristics, right qualities, and the business skills that are needed, like creativity, ambiguity, they should know some kind of financial skills they must have. So when we talk about the successful entrepreneur, it is of prime importance that they possess personal qualities also. So here I have jotted down some of the qualities that is very important, like a big idea. When the entrepreneur think about an idea, it should be something better than the other. Then entrepreneurs set massive goals for themselves and stay committed to achieving them regardless of the obstacles that come in future or that come in their way. They should be creative, they should be innovative, they should be resourceful. Then an entrepreneur should have this ability to organize the various factors that has an impact on the business. So they should understand all the aspects of business. Again, risk-taking ability or quality is of great importance, because they should be ready to bear risk and uncertainties in business. Then decision making is, again, one has to take right decision at right time, and quick decisions are expected, but a hasty decision should not be taken. And also delay in decisions may increase the cost of the project, or cost it reduces the profit. An entrepreneur should be always a continuous learner, and they should be always open to the changes, they should be updated with the latest technology or service techniques, and are always ready to change if they see new opportunities are coming up or new opportunities are there. They should have these negotiation skills also. Then ultimately they should have this strong belief in themselves. Often what happens is that a strong and assertive personality becomes a successful entrepreneur. So these are some of the abilities that I have mentioned, but there are many more abilities and qualities are there. So here I would like to also mention about digital entrepreneurship. So in a world which is now witnessing this COVID-19 pandemic, and also with the continuous and radical changes in the technology, in innovations. So especially after this COVID-19 pandemic, entrepreneurs are now also developing business ideas that capitalize on power of technology. Entrepreneurs now have the opportunity to offer new products and services to the consumers through social media platforms like Instagrams or Facebook or Twitter. And also they are using this e-commerce, and to also artificial intelligence plays an important role to measure their impact and the reach of the market. So again, the digital entrepreneurs gain access to funding and resources through various sources like venture capitalists, then crowdfunding, and bank loans. Also, after pandemic, there is a huge potential and opportunities for entrepreneurs in the sector like healthcare and sanitation, then logistics and e-commerce, then digital marketing is booming, and online learning is also booming. So in this slide, I have actually jotted down some of the opportunities that are available at the initiation level as well as in the expansion level. So textile is one of the oldest and the fast growing sector in India, and it exports 11% of the world's total requirement. So there are, this sector has been divided into two parts, that is the organized sector and the unorganized sector. So the modern technology that has been used, like machines and techniques for production and production of the textile, is the organized sector, and unorganized is the we can say that the handloom and the handicrafts, etc. Again, as I have said, training and education, the online tutoring services, entrepreneurs, nowadays coming up with online tutorials. So with good facilities at the competitive rates, or the entrepreneurs can attract more students. So this, there are lots of opportunities in the field of training and education. When you talk about tourism has we all know that wide opportunities in India, of course, because of its rich heritage and because of the beaches, the diverse culture, the wildlife. However, due to COVID situation, there has been an impact of the movement of the tourists. But there has been a local tourist movement is there, and therefore a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurs in the field of tourism is there, and by providing a good transport facilities, then hotels, of course, then guiding the tourist. So definitely. Then energy sector, there are broad opportunities in this sector, like the requirement of energy is rising due to many reasons, like betterment in living styles, living standards, then industrial development, agricultural development. So to fulfill the energy demand, there is a need for production of energy, then supply of electrical devices, then agriculture and irrigation machineries. So these are some of the scopes in energy sector. Again, food products, like producing, consuming, exporting, transporting. Again, when there's a opportunity in waste management and recycling also. So this sector has a broad opportunity to start, like recycling plant, then energy production from waste, then waste treatment plant, then waste collection services. So these are few opportunities in this waste management recycling. Then healthcare. Yes, of course, there's a large opportunities in this sector also, like medicine manufacturing, then online marketing of the medicine and online selling of the medicine. So there are a lot of scope in healthcare sector. Again, organic farming has been in India since for a long time, but the importance of organic farming has grown, and especially with many foreigners preferring organic products. So there are many small time farmers who have adopted this organic farming, but still, the demand is still unmet. So offering this organic farming has a lot of opportunities for the entrepreneurs also. Again, media, then toys. Yes, Indian toy market is not that well organized, but there are business opportunities in the toy sectors also, like toys for education, then wooden toys, then sponge toys, then balloon making, toy stores. So there are opportunities. Then packaging also, packaging materials for machinery, chemicals, fertilizers, for food products, for food products, for fruits packaging. So there are many opportunities. Here, I would also like to mention about social entrepreneurship, that is social ventures. Actually, it is an approach by the entrepreneurs or the startup companies in which they develop and fund and implement solutions to social, cultural, and environmental issues. So entrepreneurs can help the less privileged to get into employment. So this is also one of the important opportunity that is there. Again, franchising. We all know that India is well connected with the world, and franchising with leading brands who wants to spread across the countries could really offer ample of opportunities for the young entrepreneurs. Then there's biotechnology. So after the software sector, biotechnology opens a huge potential. So entrepreneurs can look into this, a plethora of options that are available with the application of biotechnology in the agriculture sector, maybe in the horticulture or sericulture, poultry, dairy, and production of fruits and vegetables. So these are few sectors that I have discussed here, but there are ample of scopes are available for the entrepreneurs. Now let us move towards the government initiatives. So India is witnessing a startup boom across all the sectors that I have mentioned, including this technology, health, then food, education, and to encourage this the budding entrepreneurs to kickstart this innovative business that will eventually create employment opportunities. The government is offering innumerable schemes to make the process easy. So the Startup India initiative, it was launched by Prime Minister of India in the year 2016. And the idea of this initiative is to increase the wealth and the employability by giving, wings to the entrepreneurial spirits. And, it is one of the best government-sponsored startup schemes for entrepreneurs because as it provides several concessions also. Then Make in India initiative, it has not only encouraged the manufacturers, but also the Indian buyers, trust and invest in the domestic brands. Again, there's Micro Units Development Refinance Agency, Mudra Banks, that has been created to enhance the credit facility and boost the growth of small businesses in the rural areas. Actually, this scheme has been introduced to support small businesses in India. Again, this Self-Employment and Talent Utilization Fund, this is to facilitate the growth of startup firms. And it has been set up by the government. And under this scheme, rupees 1,000 crore has been allotted by the government in order to, create opportunities for self-employment and new jobs, mainly in the technological driven domains. Again, there is eBiz portal. The main purpose of this portal is to transform and develop a conducive business environment in the country. And actually, it was developed by Infosys in a public-private partnership model. And actually, it is a communication center for the investors and the business communities in India. Again, there is Atal Incubation Center. It was started by Niti Aayog in the year 2016, and it is an innovative funding scheme to promote entrepreneurs by covering their capital operational costs. And in 2017, the Department of Science and Technology, DST, introduced this new generation innovation and entrepreneurship development center program. And the program is implemented by the Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, EDII, Ahmedabad, and it promotes the knowledge-based and technology-driven startups. Again, I have mentioned here about MSME, Market Development Assistance, and this startups, micro, small, and medium enterprise and retailers registered with the Director of Industries can avail this scheme to expand their businesses across the world through international fairs or exhibitions. Again, to promote the women entrepreneurship, there is the Women Entrepreneurship Platform, which is again launched by Niti Aayog, and it is actually is for the budding and the existing women entrepreneurs across India. Again, a scheme for promotion of innovation, rural industries, and entrepreneurship, Aspire. The government has made continuous effort to improve the social and economic aspect of people in the rural areas of India. So the Aspire scheme actually aims at increasing the employment, then reducing the poverty and encouraging them to be innovative, especially in the rural areas. Again, there's Dairy Processing and Infrastructure Development Fund, DIDF. So this is again the Government of India scheme, which is announced to for the creation of Dairy Processing and Infrastructure Development Fund under NABARD, and all the milk unions or multi-state milk cooperatives or state dairy federations who are who meet the eligibility criteria under the project can borrow loan from NABARD. So finally, I discuss about the venture capital assistance scheme, which the Small Farmers Agri-based, agribusiness consortium has launched this venture capital assistance scheme for the welfare of farmers who are also entrepreneurs and to develop their agribusiness. So again, there are many schemes there which has been launched by Government of India and to develop and encourage the entrepreneurship in India. So here are some of the institutions that promote skill-based entrepreneurship. Here I have mentioned about National Institute of Entrepreneurship and Small Business Development. This institution come under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, and it is for the development of the skills and the entrepreneurship development. Things are. Then the second is the Rural Self-Employment Training Institute, which comes under National Institute of Rural Development Panchayat Raj. And this institute actually helps the rural people under various aspects of self-employment and again entrepreneurship. Then Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, as we all know, this institute helps young people to take up entrepreneurship, then explore this social entrepreneurship that I have mentioned, then also increase their livelihood and improve their family business. Then lastly, I have mentioned about National Institute of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise, NIMSME. So it is a national institute which supports micro, small and business enterprises. So these institutions actually support not just the youngsters, but the women entrepreneurs also, and the people from the urban areas for entrepreneurship, and help and extend support whoever wants to be an entrepreneur by helping them, by connecting them with a larger system, by providing training and education along with the right information, the funding information, and the market linkages that are necessary. In India, in Assam also, there is Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship. There is a center, a technology incubation center at IIT Guwahati, which conducts several initiatives to promote and inspire entrepreneurship. So here, actually, I have mentioned some of the successful stories of some entrepreneurs who are successful. Like first, Vijay Shekhar Sharma, who owned the company Paytm. He's the founder of Paytm, the digitized payments in India. Actually, his background is engineering, but he started up with this thing, and he is now successful. Again, Ritesh Agarwal, who is the founder of Oyo Rooms. Actually, also he is an engineer. He was an engineer, but then eventually what happens is that he was not interested in preparation of this engineering, and somehow he redirected himself, and he wrote a book called the Indian Engineering Colleges, a complete encyclopedia of top 100 colleges. So that book was very immensely popular on Flipkart, and after that he shifted to this startup called the Oracle Stays, and he improvised his business model and relaunched Oracle as Oyo. Again, there is Bhavish Agarwal, who owns this Ola Cab. Then Dipender Goyal and Pankaj Chadha, who own this Zomato. This has revolutionized the delivery segment in India through, from door-to-door delivery of the food. And again, they were the IIT graduates. And then the company, which is Flipkart, which is owned by Vinny Bansal and Sachin Bansal. They are the founders of Flipkart, and this is the e-commerce segment in India, which was, underwent drastic change. And again, Byju's, when I talk about the online learning, or there are scope for, opportunities in education sector, Byju's is an example for that. Baiju Ravindran has helped thousands of students who struggle with the subject maths or science, and help them to crack the examinations like JEE, NEET and UPSC also. So Alvinder Dinsta and Saurav Kumar, who was Grofers. So there are many examples successful for successful entrepreneurs. But when we talk about northeastern part of India, I would like to mention here about Leela Charan Datta, who owned the CK Udyog Private Limited, and you know. Leela Charan is an entrepreneur of Assam who runs the beekeeping business, and here I would also like to mention about Mr. O. Lanko, which is extraordinarily talented and have this business skill, and he actually has this strawberry farm, and he is a strawberry grower, and the strawberries have been in a Sola village in Meghalaya. So this strawberry farm has indeed create a long-lasting impact on the lives of the people in the village also. So there has been a substantial increase in the income of the people also around this farm. And again, Ms. Neela Soikia, who is the exporter, distributor, and supplier of chili whole dry, then chili powders, chili flakes. Then again, a tea planter, Ranjit Burua. He has this Aromika Tea Private Limited. Again, Meghali Bora, who is a proprietor of Meghali Food Products, who deals with the items like pickles and various spices. Dilip Burua is also one of the entrepreneur who is famous and is a managing director of Fabric Plus Private Limited. And actually, Fabric Plus is based on Guwahati and is a manufacturer of Assam silk. And they export this product to many countries. Again, there is a Kaushik Bora and his partners who have come up with BNR Riverbourne, which is a cruise, which is, they come up with a houseboat kind of a thing, which is the first of its kind, and it sailed on the Brahmaputra River. Again, Sanjukta Datta, who has this Sanjukta studio. She was an engineer and worked in the PWD with government of Assam, but eventually she she realized that she is not into this field, and she tried something to do and follow her passion, and after that she became a designer, where she represented Assam in Lakme Fashion Week also. So there was a time in India when much importance was given to the government jobs, but later higher pay scales and good perks given by the private sectors or multinational companies have greatly, inspired people to go into the multinational companies or the private sectors. And today, Indian economy is undergoing an immense makeover with new strategies rolling into the market, emphasizing and enhancing the role and contribution of the startups. So with the environment in India for starting an own venture, coming up with own organization has become conducive, and a great deal of entrepreneurship opportunities there in India, and more people are now prepared to take this lead. And also for this, government has taken initiatives, as I have said, for the development of the Indian startups, to initiate startup, to encourage the entrepreneurs, and with this, I think India seems to be going ahead and towards the golden era of entrepreneurship. Thank you so much. Now I would like to call upon Dr. Govindo Deka to continue with the presentation.
A very good afternoon to my respected colleagues, our research scholars, and my dear learners. My earlier panelists, Dr. Dipankar Malakar and Dr. Sayanika Sanapati have rightly pointed out the various opportunities and initiatives taken by the Government of India regarding the skill development and entrepreneurial development for creating employment opportunities. So I will go for the reverse side of that is challenges faced by the skill development and entrepreneurship development program in India. Am I audible clearly?
Yes, sir.
But I am unable to open my video. The host is not allowing me to.
So you are.
You can try now, sir.
Yes. Thank you, Navankar. So I'll go for my slide presentation. I'll be sharing my screen. Is it sharing? Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yes. I will be discussing regarding the challenges of skill and entrepreneurship development, creating employability, and it's something going difficult to look out in my screen. Is it broken out? Navankur?
It's okay, sir. You can scroll down and continue.
Yes. So first of all, the challenges regarding the skill development and employability. Keeping in view the current infrastructure and the policy framework, India is facing a lot of challenges while going for creating employability through skill development. The challenges faced in the skill development may be discussed as insufficient infrastructural capacity. It has been noticed that many skill development institutions suffer from lack of proper infrastructures. Current infrastructure facilities available in the educational institutions throughout the country are inadequate, considering the huge demand for skilled labor. There are not even trained and highly skilled trainers available. Next, low rate of vocational training. According to 12th Plan Document of Planning Commission, 85% of the labor force in India have educational qualification up to secondary level, within which only 55% have an as much as 55% have an educational qualification only up to primary level, and merely 2% of workforce has any vocational training. Due to lack of awareness about industrial requirements and the availability of matching vocational courses, most of the prospective students in the country do not go for vocational education. Whereas around 90% of the jobs are skill based, that is, they require some sort of vocational training. In reality, only 2% of the population enroll in vocational training in India, as compared to 80% in Europe and 60% in East Asian countries. Next, declining rate of employability. According to India Skill Report, India Skill Reports 2021, 45.9% of the Indian graduates are employable. However, it is declining from 46.21% in 2020 and 47.38% in 2019. MCA graduates are the least in terms of employability, as only 22.42% of them are employable, followed by Polytechnic at 25.02%. The BTech graduates are most employable with 46.82%, followed by MBAs at 46.53%. 59%. Then lack of employment opportunities and skills for women and workforce. Despite women being more employable and hireable than men, it is the men who secure most jobs. On average, 64% of all professionals are men, while only 36% of the workforce is women in India. However, a hopeful sign for the structural economic changes in the future is that the women participants is higher than the previous 5 years. Another issue regarding this is that women in India are mainly concentrated in the informal sector and are engaged in low-paid jobs with no security benefits. The next is impact of COVID-19. As we all know, the industries were impacted by the harsh reality of COVID-19. Schools were closed. Operations in the formal sectors and informal sectors of the economy were disrupted. Unemployment rose high, and the 1.3 billion Indians are challenged by an unexpected opponent. The supply chain was weakened by less manpower. Travel was restricted in many regions of the world. Corporate layoffs resulted in a spike in unemployment. The informal sector of the economy was facing heavy troubles. Then funding ran dry. The funding sources of all government-sponsored programs were largely unavailable during September-October 2020. When the lockdown was extended, this created a lot of stress on small-scale development organizations, and as a result, they were forced to downsize their project staff. Then skill gap. In India, where there exists an enormous skill gap between the demand from industries and the kind of skills sets the young people acquire through their various educations and trainings. Of all the students applying for roles in the labor market, a mere 1/3 of number had the appropriate skills to match the requirement of the employer. Though we have sufficient manpower, but they are not skilled enough to get a job. Next is skill gap in the IT industry. Majority of the employable resources are qualified in their domain of education. However, the evolving economy needs a skilled talent pool with hands-on experience in various emerging technologies. The inclusion of technology assets across industries has created a high demand for professionals with a knack for learning new skills and industry-specific certifications. Then skills mismatch. There are a lot of issues related to the skills needed by the industry and the skills imparted by the educational and training institutes. There is a lack of industry faculty interaction because of which the skill sets provided by the educational and training institutes do not end up suiting the employer's requirements. As a result, though the people may be skilled, but they do not get employment. Next, demand and supply mismatch. In India, there is a serious mismatch between the education and skills that the youth attain and what the labor market demands. It has been observed that there are more people than the available jobs at the low skills level, while there are more jobs at the high skill level than those available for such jobs. Next, informal and formal sector skill gap. In India, around 12 million people are expected to join the workforce every year, whereas the current total training capacity of the country is around 4.3 million, thereby depriving around 64 applicants of the opportunity of formal skill development every year. The next challenge is a training of trainers. Training of trainers, that is TOT, is one of the important keys of the skill development framework. And absence of inefficiency of the same would result in serious bottleneck in the implementation of skill development projects. In India, the gross requirement of trainers is approximately 79,000. Furthermore, the annual incremental requirement of trainers is approximately 2,000, 20,000, whereas at present, the current annual capacity of the trainers is only 2,000. Then, lack of mobilization. The outlook of people associated with skill development is still very traditional. The enrollment of the students for vocational education and training has become an extremely challenging task. The next challenge is the geographical imbalances. The states with much higher economic growth rates have more new jobs with lower rate of labor force, while on the other hand, the states with slower economic growth rates have higher population growth rates with fewer new jobs. Geography-wise, candidates from Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, and Karnataka were found with highest employable talent, while Hyderabad, Bengaluru, and Pune ranked top among the cities. Moreover, majority of formal institutions are located in urban areas as compared to rural areas, and even private sector institutions are also reluctant to operate in rural areas. Hence, large opportunities of rural population do not have any formal vocational training institutions. Then, a lack of scalability. Any model to be successful needs a lot of support from different stakeholders. Since there is a limited buy-in from the corporate sector, the progress of such initiatives is slow. The next is low educational attainment. Vocational training in India is primarily imparted through the government and private industrial training institutes, that is ITIs. Current annual training capacity of India is 4.3 million, which is 20% less than the industrial requirement of 22 million skilled workers a year. Poor quality of education, which result in lack of literacy and numeracy skills on the part of students. These students find it extremely difficult to absorb even basic skills. Many skills taught in curriculum are obsolete, and their end result is that workers are unable to find jobs according to their aspirations. Then lack of coordination between the job aspirants and employers. There is a lack of platforms where industrial and governmental agencies can meet regularly for systematic upgradation of curriculum for new skills. Ultimately, it results in lack of coordination between the job aspirants and employers. Then unorganized sector do not get any kind of skill training. The private sector provides skill training as required by service sector, mainly to educated youth and largely in urban regions. Ultimately, hundreds of workers in unorganized sector do not get any kind of skill training, which results in low productivity levels and employability gaps among majority of workforce. The next challenge is private sector participation. The private sector is not involved adequately in curriculum development and policy formulation relating to educational and vocational training. The next one is placement link challenges. A major problem India's existing skill development system is lack of linkage between education and placement of that trained workforce. The next challenge is the lack of labor market institution information system, that is LMIS. The absence of proper labor management information system impacts the very objective of the skill initiative in India, as it results in poor linkage between skill development and employment. The last I have mentioned challenges of skill development is no focus on non-technical skills. The vocational training centers in India is focusing on developing technical skills only, whereas the employers feel the need of having behavioral skills also. According to the India hiring intent survey, the employers also focus on skills like domain, expertise, communication, honesty and integrity, adaptability, interpersonal skill, etc. Those are not covered as integral part of skill development. So these were the challenges facing in India while adopting skill development program for upliftment of employment opportunities. Now I will point out some challenges regarding the entrepreneurship development while creating employment opportunities. The first challenge facing by entrepreneurship development in the field of entrepreneurship development is financing problem. It is quite a challenging task for creating employability opportunities, because the entrepreneurs are facing some problems while starting a startup in India. The first problem they are facing is financing problem. Getting funds for the business is one of the main issues that all business face. Steady cash flow is crucial for businesses to endure, and they always need to have extra funds to take care of rainy days. While starting a new business, businessman will certainly have restricted accessibility of funds. Then lack of planning. It is impressive the number of startup fails since the fail to remember to do proper planning. Next one is the hiring the right talent. Lack of hiring the right talent. Not having the right people can produce extreme bottlenecks and also can delay the rollout of new products or services. This is one of the issues that no startup can afford, particularly in the early days. The next one is office infrastructure, sufficient office infrastructure. Workplace rent and associated costs are the first things that an entrepreneur should look at when he or she starting a new business. It is quite a challenging task to get a suitable workplace. Then effective marketing within a limited budget. Some startups assume they can ignore marketing strategies entirely and hope that word of mouth will be sufficient. Being a startup, it's essential to create visibility among the consumers. Effective marketing techniques within a limited budget should be made to reach the target audiences. Next one is the creating awareness in markets. Startups fail due to a lack of attention to limitations in the markets. The environment for a startup in India is usually more difficult than for an established firm due to the uniqueness of the product. Next one is facing criticism. Entrepreneurs have to go through many stresses. One of the constant problems faced by entrepreneurs is criticism. They may be related to its business or family. Even big entrepreneurs like Ratan Tata, N.R. Narayanan Murthy have faced criticism and still face them. As a new entrepreneur, he might face it more. Next challenge is finding the right customers, finding the customers. It's really hard to attract customers for any company that is starting out, especially if they are a business with a limited marketing budget. This problem always plays on every entrepreneur's mind, and the fact that people tend to stick with well-known brands they are familiar with makes it harder for them to sell their products. The next one is facing failure. It is not necessary that every idea will work. If you are trying a lot of new things, not everything will work, and you will not succeed at each of these ideas. Then challenges involved in rural entrepreneurship. The rural entrepreneurship is facing so many challenges, namely family challenges, social challenges, technological challenges, financial challenges, policy challenges, etc., etc. And last one is current major issues in India are also influencing the entrepreneur development in India. The current issues like corruption, illiteracy, poverty, women's safety, etc., are influencing entrepreneurial development in India. So this is all about from my side regarding the challenges facing by skill development and entrepreneurship development while going for creating employment opportunities. Thank you all. Now this session is open for discussion. If someone have any observations and questions, you can put here. I request my fellow colleague, Dr. Dipankar Malakar and Dr. Shanika Senapati, please handle.
So there is one question from, actually there is a query from Smritika Chaudhary. She has asked, women nowadays, we can that they are coming up with new ventures, and an old example of is this, that Indian Women Worker Cooperative involved in the manufacturing of various fast-moving consumer goods, especially known for its Lijjat Papad. So this is a success story that we all know, and it is also very important to help and assist women as an entrepreneur. I think there are so many schemes available for them. What do you say on this? This query, I would like to answer this, take up this query. Yes, we all know that this Mahila Griha Udyog Lijjat Papad, which is popularly known as Lijjat, are involved in manufacturing of consumer goods, and this is they are mainly known for Lijjat Papad. So this organization is mainly focused, and their objective is to empower the women by providing them with employment opportunities. So this is an example of women entrepreneurship, and this was long back. So when women, women should be encouraged for new ventures. We all know that women consist of 50% of the total population, and therefore they must be encouraged to contribute to the economy of the country and to be self-sufficient financially and mentally also. So when women entrepreneurs normally, we know that mostly they take up the labor intensive, small scale and village industries, or handicrafts related and ventures, and they have this potential in employment generation also. So this is also a solution to the widespread problem of women unemployment to some extent. So women should be they should be encouraged to be an entrepreneur. And yes, of course, government of India has come up with many initiatives. I've already mentioned about women entrepreneurship platform, and there are special incentives and drives that have created that have strengthened the growth of women entrepreneurs. The scheme like Startup India that I have said, then there are schemes like National Credit Fund for Women. Then there is, there are many schemes from NETFI, like Women Enterprise Development Schemes. So there are lots of schemes that have been provided to the women entrepreneurs, and definitely they, if they contribute to the economy of the country, they must be encouraged.
There is one more question from Gandip Mahananda. I think Gandip Mahananda, are you there? Gandip Mahananda, I think he has left the meeting. Anyway, he has put two questions. One is, how can we raise fund for the startup? And secondly, how to build a right and good team. How we can raise funds for the startup? So nowadays there are many schemes initiated by both central as well as state government. There are many incubation centers where some of the incubation centers also arrange for necessary funds. And in case of Assam, it's the Nest, which is situated in the in Ambari area near near AGP office. That is the organization which provide consultancy and all other helps for new startup in Assam. So this is the best place, I think, to consult since it is a government agency for raising funds and how to raise funds. That institute, I think, will best guide you. And next question is how to build a right and good team. It's obviously a very difficult question because it is related to managing the human resource. So which is the most challenging task in the globe. So it's always difficult to handle human resource. So how one can build a good team? Number one, one should know the behavior of the person, and accordingly we should react or treat. Number one. Number two is the leader or the person who is starting the business, he must be accept the business secret. Other things must be disclosed to the team. He must able to put faith on the team members, and there should not be, I mean, the information should not be hide from the other members, and there should be a democratic participation. Everyone's need to be or allowed to be participate or allowed to raise his or her voice, and everything should be bring into light of everyone, and decisions need to be taken in consultation. So these are the some way through which one can nurture a good team. That is again one skill which lacks among many Indian leaders, many Indian. Of course, businessman cannot succeed if he lacks this quality. So one successful entrepreneur or businessman must have to have the quality of building a team. But so for the leadership is concerned, it is obvious and it is very transparent that they fail to build the team. So because of these reasons, so one must be aware or must be alert about the others' dignity, other rights, others' liabilities. And everyone must be. This is how one team can be managed. I have answered both the question. Is there any other question, Sanika ma'am?
No. So we can think we have come to the end of this webinar, I suppose, with no more.
If anybody has any query, then they can raise their hands.
So we can take, I suppose, one more query if there is any. And
if anybody
wind up.
want to talk. Rubul Duara, I think he has raised his hand. Rubul Duara, are you there? Rubul Duara?
He can type his question in the question answer chat box.
No, he can unmute himself and he can speak.
Okay.
I think he is not there. So thank you all for patient hearing. We'll conclude